A young woman named Elara worked as a data entry clerk, a job she found mind-numbingly boring. Every day felt the same. The endless clicking, the repetitive data, the fluorescent lights humming above her head. She dreamed of being a writer, of crafting worlds and characters that would captivate readers. But those dreams felt distant, relegated to the precious few hours she had after work when exhaustion often won. One day, a new manager, Mr. Davies, joined the company. He was a man of quiet intensity, always observing, always seeking ways to improve efficiency. He noticed Elara's meticulous attention to detail and her quiet diligence. "Elara," he said one afternoon, "I've noticed you're quite efficient at your work. However, I also sense a dissatisfaction. Am I wrong?" Elara hesitated, then confessed, "No, sir. I want to be a writer, but I feel trapped. I don't have the time or energy to pursue it properly." Mr. Davies smiled knowingly. Time, Elara, is a fascinating thing. We all have the same amount, yet some people achieve so much more. Let me tell you a story. There once lived two farmers, Silas and Ben. They both owned equal plots of land, equally fertile. Silas worked tirelessly from sunrise to sunset every single day. He plowed, sowed, and harvested with relentless energy. Ben, on the other hand, seemed to take his time. He spent hours observing his land, studying the soil, and researching new techniques. He often took breaks, sat in the shade, and simply thought. At the end of the first year, Silas had a decent harvest. He was proud of his hard work, but Ben's harvest was significantly larger, and his crops were healthier and more bountiful. Silas was confused. He approached Ben and asked, "How did you do it? I worked harder than you, for longer hours. How is your harvest so much better?" Ben smiled and replied, "Silas, you worked hard in your field. I worked hard on my field. You focused on the immediate task. I focused on understanding the bigger picture. I spent time researching better seeds, more efficient irrigation, and natural pest control. I invested my time wisely." Mr. Davies paused, looking directly at Elara. "Elara, are you working hard in your life or on your life?" Elara pondered his words. She realized she was so focused on surviving each day that she wasn't investing time in her long-term goals. That evening, instead of collapsing in front of the television, she spent 1 hour researching online writing courses. The next day, she used her lunch break to outline a short story idea. Slowly, she began to carve out small pockets of time, investing them strategically in her writing. She joined an online writing group, learned from experienced authors, and received constructive feedback. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks and moments of doubt. But she remembered Mr. Davies' story and Silas's mistake. She continued to work on her life, not just in it. Years later, Elara published her first novel, a critically acclaimed fantasy epic that topped bestseller lists. At her book signing, she saw Mr. Davies in the crowd. He winked and gave her a subtle nod. Elara knew she owed a great debt to the wise manager who had taught her the true value of time and the power of working on your life, not just in it. He taught her that sometimes the most productive thing you can do is take a step back, observe, and strategize how to use your time most effectively.